And joining us right now is KT McFarland. And boy, what a good morning to have you, KT, because we got some news on the national security front. The Obama administration has just announced that they will be naming Susan Rice as National Security Advisor. You know, given the fact that she is a bit of a controversial figure, given the whole talking points angle of the Benghazi story, what kind of message is this sending? Is this really just the Obama administration saying, I could care less, I'm the president, I'll do what I want?
Yeah, I'm doubling down. I'm circling the wagons. I never knew anything about all these scandals. They have nothing to do with me. They're not part of my team. And anyway, I'm going to give Susan Rice the NSC job, which is arguably could be the most important national security job in the administration.
Yeah, you know that better than anyone. I mean, you were there.
I spent 7 years working for the greatest national security advisor, Henry Kissinger. Look, Susan Rice is going to be a disaster. She has zero credibility with the media, foreign policy community, any foreign leaders, or Capitol Hill, and she is so badly tarnished by the Benghazi scandal that she walks into that job on day one, weak and wounded.
And not a lot of love and respect among even her own colleagues, right, KT? And that is the coordinator and developer of national security policy. Being able to work and play well and convince others is an important part of the job.
Or at the end of the day, if you can't convince them, you've got to ride herd over them. Now, can you imagine her riding herd over the Secretaries of State, Defense, CIA Director, maybe the Secretary of Treasury, the Joint Chiefs of Staff? No way. Look, she handled that Benghazi thing so badly. She was either complicit in a cover-up or she was incompetent. Either she knew what had happened and deliberately lied to the American people, or she was a mere actress who read the lines she was given, and she was too incompetent to even question them. So she might be able to overcome the Benghazi scandal if she either had strong credentials, like she was a senior military officer, Colin Powell, Brent Scowcroft, come to mind, or a respected academic like Kissinger, Brzezinski, or if she had done a great job at the UN. But she was none of these. She was a really ineffective UN ambassador. What I couldn't understand was why she couldn't get Russia or China on board over Syria or over sanctions against Iran. And not only that, but she was stunned when they refused to do what she wanted them to do. So not only did she fail to persuade them, she didn't even know what they were thinking.
Meanwhile, you mentioned the UN ambassador role, and it's also been announced Samantha Power, who's been an advisor to the president in the White House, is now going to be the new UN ambassador. What do we know about her?
Well, let me just tell you two things. She called Hillary Clinton a monster at one point.
I remember that during the campaign, right, during the Ohio, that was when she was doing a book tour, and she said that. She said, I want that to be off the record after the fact. Yeah. Yeah,
ouch. And then she also was one of the main perpetrators of the decision to go to war in Libya, which has been a disaster, which is what caused Benghazi in the first place, which is why we're in such a mess in the Middle East, because Libya is now in political chaos. Al-Qaeda set up shop there. All of Gaddafi's weapons arsenals are being used to fund all the fighting throughout the region. And eastern Libya is an Al-Qaeda stronghold. So, I mean, what's he thinking, you know?
But Katie, you just put your figure, you summed up so perfectly these really significant issues we're facing right now that are largely being ignored, at least here in Washington. And Larry's heard me vent about this several times. I hate the talking point scandal because it allows people to get distracted from those more serious issues. I think there are plenty of people in the Obama administration who go, let them talk about talking points all day long.
They're thrilled. I mean, let's talk about talking points.
Correct.
Let's not talk about the fact that we let those people die in Benghazi, and we didn't try to rescue them. Let's not talk about the fact that the entire region 3 years ago was in relative peace and stability, and now you go from the Atlantic Ocean, North Africa, to the Levant, to the Middle East, to the Persian Gulf, all the way over to Pakistan. It's in political and economic chaos, and it's anti-American, and they're about to get their hands on nuclear weapons. I mean, that's
Other than that,
I'm concerned.
Other than that, so closer to home, an extraordinary scene yesterday, to see all the military heads, all the chiefs up there testifying on the sexual harassment and the sexual assault problems in the military. How significant a problem do you think this is? And is it going to be solved, as some members of Congress like to think it would be, by taking the military commanders out of the prosecution chain?
Well, look, I think you have to go no further than the picture of all those guys.
Wasn't that something?
In a row.
Not good optics. Not good optics.
You know, a bunch of middle-aged white guys being shocked and stunned and alarmed that sexual abuse is going on in their military. I mean, I'm sorry, boys. You had made this a priority 10 years ago, and it's only gotten worse, and it's gotten much worse. So I think they've lost their chance to fix it. Take it out of the military chain of command. But I would do one even more than they're talking about doing. Take it out of the military chain of command. And if someone is found guilty of rape or sexual assault, not only should he be punished, his immediate superior should be held accountable as well, and his career should suffer. And if it's a false accusation and it's not proved, then the person who's the accuser should have their career tarnished as well. And I think, again, the biggest part of the problem, how about having one of those middle-aged white guys sitting there talking about how shocked they are? Put a woman in one of those jobs. I think you see a lot of change real fast.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right.
KT, really quickly before we get out, we just heard this story. I don't know if you've seen it or not. That they're while we're now funneling furloughs over to Walter Reed here, and the vital work that they do at Walter Reed, we're looking for an art class instructor for the terrorists down at Gitmo. I mean, that really puts things in perspectives in terms of priorities, doesn't it?
I'm not surprised, but I'm ashamed.
Well said, KT McFarland. Always good to have you.
Thanks, KT.
Don't forget
Thank
KT
you.
McFarland, Fox News national security analyst. She also hosts today, every Wednesday at 1 p.m., she hosts the DEFCON 3 show at foxnews.com. Must-view viewing. Must-see viewing. Must-view seeing. You know what I mean.